Hi, my name is Steven Vargas. I'm a senior software engineer at Microsoft, and I've been there for a bit over 5 years now. Um, this is going to be my new channel. It's related more to tech, the software engineering field. People maybe looking to get into software engineering. Um, I don't really know the direction exactly yet. I'm going to be working on that. I have a personal channel that has more lifestyle. It's outdoors oriented. Um, and I'll include a link to that in the description. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna try to feel out this channel, see what direction I should go with it. If you have questions or anything like that, let me know. I would love to do some videos, maybe help some people. I might do things like resume reviews, maybe live chats, Q&As, maybe things related towards Azure, since I've been working with Azure for several years. My primary thing I work on at Microsoft is related to cost and resource optimization. So it's just about using Azure more efficiently and just cloud resources more efficiently in order to save cost in both computing resources. So yeah, before I don't want to go too much into that. I'll dive into what this video is about. So today I'm going to be covering how to install this new solution. They have this new solution that's in preview. It's a V2 of an existing solution for stopping and starting virtual machines on a schedule. So the original one I think was based on Azure automation accounts. The new version is based on Logic Apps and Azure Functions. But it's in preview right now, so I wouldn't use this on like a production workload, but it's I think dev is fair game. So I'm going to show you how to install this. This whole thing to set up a basic schedule will probably take less than 5 minutes. So here we are at the GitHub page for this new solution. So let's go click deploy to Azure. So, and to give a little more background, this is kind of a popular scenario for a lot of people because especially with dev and non-production services, a lot of times you want to shut those down when you're not using them. And we find frequently that people are not using their dev resources over the weekend, outside of working hours, and things like that. So in my example, I'm going to show how I stop a couple of VMs over the weekend and how I start one of them on Monday. So let's go through the actual deployment process. So I went to GitHub, I clicked deploy. I made sure to select the general, not the, so let me go back for that so you can see. So as you can see here, there's two options. There's production and then there's Fairfax. There's the production GA and then the production Fairfax. Fairfax is for government subscriptions and things like that. If you're not running a US government subscription, then make sure to select the first option. Okay, let me get my glasses here. That'll help a little bit. The documentation is kind of sparse right now, and a couple of the links link to the documentation for the old version of Start Stop. I expect that to get better, but for right now, you're kind of gonna have to feel things out. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I might be able to help with that. So, okay, here we go through the deployments. I'll also include some details in my blog post, which will be in the description as well. So things like payloads and links and other useful things will be in the description, and there'll be a link to my blog with all that detail. So let's put this in West US. The resource group name, we'll call it Start Stop Feb Demo. These can be whatever you like. There's not really any impact. The names don't really affect anything. They still have to be valid names for the type of resource you're creating. So if it's Azure Function, you want to make sure you use a valid name for Azure Functions. And same thing for the application insights and the storage account. So Start Stop Feb Demo AI. Oh, got these mixed up. So, and I'll just call this one FA for function app. Same thing down here for storage account. For the most part, you want these things in the same region, unless you have some specific case where you'd want them spread out. You can put an email address so that you can be notified when there's executions and just general status emails for this. But I'm not going to use that feature. So let's go to review, create. So yeah, this is in preview mode right now, so I wouldn't use this for production workflows, but I think it's fair game for non-production workflows. So while this is deploying, I'll show you my virtual machines. I have 3 virtual machines that I created for the purpose of this demo. 2 of them are in the same resource group, and 1 of them is in a separate resource group. And I believe all these are Linux VMs, but they can be any type of VM you like. So we'll let this run. It should only take about probably less than 5 minutes for this deployment to complete, and then we can go through for setting up your schedules. So yeah, that only took about 4 minutes, and it looks like the deployment is complete. So let's go over to that resource group. Here we go. So in this scenario, I'm going to pretend I want to stop all my VMs, well, at least all the VMs in one resource group on Friday night, and I'm going to start one of them again Monday morning. So first we'll start with the stop. So I'm going to go down to scheduled stop, go to edits, click scheduled, and this should open the request body. In here you can see kind of 2 dummy records. So let me get rid of this. We want to do it on the resource group level. What's nice is you can actually do it on the VM level, resource group level, or the subscription level. So you can actually start all of the VMs in a specific subscription, or stop all of them in a specific subscription, or you can narrow it down to resource groups or individual resources, or you can do a combination of those. There's also an option to exclude certain VMs, so you can include that in this payload. I'll show you what that looks like. So here's the different kind of values you can use. Like I said, I'll include this in the blog post, both these payloads, so you can copy and paste them. So we're going to be doing resource groups, and that's included already. There's like a placeholder for that. So we need to replace this subscription ID with the correct one, and then also the resource group name with the correct resource group name for the VMs we want to stop. Okay. So subscription ID, let's copy it here. And the resource group name is here. Let's replace that. Oops. Sometimes I forget on my Mac, and I forget the copy and paste is different than Windows. So, okay. So we have that done, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to operate on classic virtual machines, you can change this to true. It's not a common scenario anymore, but there are still some people using classic resources. So we'll save this. One thing to note is when you enable these logic apps, they run immediately. So that will cause the start or the stop to run right when you enable that. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you have a problem with that, you might want to wait until you actually want the first execution to happen before you enable this. So let's go over here. We'll enable it. It's enabled. And as you can see, it ran the first time. And if we look at this and the outputs, we'll see that it's attempted a stop action on those 2 VMs within that resource group. It will take a couple seconds to minutes to complete the stop on this, but it should be fairly fast. And those VMs were started before, so let's look at them now, and they're stopped. So it was pretty fast. One thing I forgot to mention is how to actually set the schedule. So all I did was update the payload, but you're going to need to update the trigger on this schedule. So let's go back to editing the logic app. We'll click the top thing up here, the recurrence. I want this to run. So 1830, that should be 530. So that would, and so when you convert from 24-hour time to 12-hour time. So this is already 5:30 p.m. So that's what I want. Frequency, I want it to be weekly. And I need to change it to on these days, add that parameter. And select Friday. So this should run every day at every Friday. And that should be all the changes we need. There we go. So yeah, that we have a stop schedule set up. So these VMs will be shut off every Friday, and that wasn't too hard to set up, right? Okay, so we'll do one more demo. We'll do a start, and we'll say we want to start one VM every Monday. So we'll go over to the start logic app, go to edit, recurrence, week. We just did this kind of similar thing. This one's already set up for 6 a.m., which that's kind of early. Let's do 9, right before we get into the office. And then add the on these days parameter. Select Monday. We need to update the payload like we did with the other one. This time we're not doing resource groups. We're doing it based on actual specific VMs. So we're going to remove that. Let's see, that JSON, can't think of the name of it right now, property. And you can either remove it or just leave it as an empty array. I'm just removing it in this case. So I'm going to copy the VM list parameter. There we go. And then I'm going to need the full resource ID for that VM I want to start. So it's going to be demo VM1. I'll go up here. So you can get this from the URL. Let's see, up to this part. So it looks very similar to the other one we had earlier. Just it has the provider's information and it has the VM name. So subscription, resource group, everything's there. That looks good. Let's save this. And like I said before, it's going to run immediately. So let's look at this. We will enable it. And that has run. Okay. Let's make sure it works correctly. And this time it only operated on that one VM. And this should run now every week on Monday at 9 a.m. So let's see. And now it's starting. So it looks like the function has already run the operation. So that's kind of a high level overview of how this works. You might be wondering how you do multiple schedules if you want multiple starts. You can just make a copy of this, the start one if you want multiple starts, and if you want more stops, you can just make copies of these logic apps. And you can do that as needed. You might have also seen there's an auto stop and sequence stop. Those are kind of more advanced cases, and if you're interested, I can cover those. But yeah, that's pretty much it today. I think this is a much better solution compared to the old automation count-based solution. And it's nice to be able to schedule groups of VMs to be as kind of single things, because I think there's a built-in functionality to stop and start individual VMs, but you can't kind of do like more complex groupings of VMs with that. And this also works cross subscription, but that's a little bit more involved to get set up. And that's something I can cover in the future as well. But this is something to keep an eye on, especially as it goes through development and they release more updates, and hopefully the documentation gets more fleshed out over the next couple months. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to like, subscribe, send me questions, let me know what you like to see. If you have anything at all, I'll probably do a live session if I get enough questions. Who knows? We'll see. Everything you might need will be in the description, and that's it for today.